So we've reached that time in our worship service where we give back to God a portion of that which God has given us. And for today, Pastor George mentioned to me that you've recently started this series on a featured ministry, and this week's featured ministry is tithing. So Pastor George asked me if I would talk about what is tithing, how it enriches my spiritual life, how it benefits ministry, and how others can get started on it. So first, what is tithing? Well, tithing is setting aside a portion of your income in a disciplined manner out of a spirit of giving as an exercise to provide for the poor, support ministry, and most of all, to give thanks and praise and worship to God. Tithing is mentioned in the Bible as early as Genesis, and we've also talked about a couple of passages in Leviticus. It also shows up in Deuteronomy, Malachi, and 2 Corinthians. I'll give you some passages in a minute. And if you recall, during my previous exhortations, I took you through some of these passages to give you not only an historical perspective, but also to share with you the scriptural underpinning of tithing. So how it enriches my spiritual life. Well, many years ago, a Christian brother of mine shared with me Malachi chapter 3, verse 10, and he spoke with such conviction that it really encouraged me to step out in tithing. And I've talked with you about Malachi before. God says, "Bring the entire tithe into my storehouse so that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I do not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing you will not have room enough for it." This Christian brother of mine inspired me to step out, and I did exactly that. Tested God with my tithings, and I felt very blessed in the ways that God has responded and met me with that promise. In fact, some of you have heard in one of my previous exhortations, it was all testimonial, me just sharing with you in ways that God has blessed me. And this, to me, has become an active practice of my spirituality, of my relationship with God. So how does tithing benefit ministry? Well, the passages in Leviticus speak to tithing as a practice to provide for the poor. But what else does it do? Well, you see here, it provides us the sanctuary. It provides us our spiritual guides, Pastor George, Pastor Wayne, Pastor David. It provides other ministries, the street teens, the candy raid for Mother's Day. Tithing provides a really tangible impact on our community. So how to get started on tithing? Okay. Well, to explore tithing, I encourage you to have dialogue with God. Take a look at some of the passages we've talked about. Grab your pens on the friendship pads. I'm going to give you a bunch of passages right now. Malachi 3, verse 10, we talked about. Leviticus chapter 19, 9 through 10. Chapter 23, verse 22. Chapter 27, verse 30 and 32. It's all in Leviticus. Deuteronomy chapter 14, 22 to 23 and 28. 2 Corinthians, we talked about before, chapter 9, verse 7, and chapters 31, verses 5 through 6. So I would encourage you, and I can give these to you after service if somebody didn't catch those. I encourage you to take a passage, look at it in the Bible, read it, reflect on that, see where that falls on your heart. And then I encourage you to take an amount that you feel comfortable with, that you feel spiritually led, and test God and see what comes about. It should not only be a good feeling of giving, but also too that you're engaging in relationship with God. And I look forward to hearing your testimonials about the blessings that come back to you. Would the ushers please come forward?
El diezmo ha enriquecido mi vida espiritual tanto. Descubre cómo el diezmo puede caber en sus prácticas.